role, therefore, that you need to play in that regard? The youth are not newcomers to the struggle. It's very important to underline that point. One of the mistakes we make, usually around the June month, when you listen to various analyses, to various commentators, they create an impression that the role of youth in the struggle started in 1976 and ended there. That all youth leadership were those who led the 1976 uprising. And because of the shallowness of that analysis, they then contrast the youth of 1976 and the youth of 2023 and condemn the youth of 2023 as not being equal, the same, and not possessing the same revolutionary zeal as the youth of 1976. It's important for us to underline the fact that the role of the youth in the struggle predates even the formation of the African National Congress, at least in two respects. One, in the fact that during the wars against colonial invasion, naturally, the people who picked up arms and were sent to the front lines of the struggle were young people. And so they already played an historic role in defending the dignity of the African people and the independence of our country, in defending the ownership of our natural resources by our people and the democratic and the systems of governance that prevailed at the time. And even and in the second respect, the second aspect is in respect to the establishment of the African National Congress. The African National Congress was established in large measure by young, educated Africans who had gone to universities abroad sent by missionaries. And instead of imbibing an education and philosophies that would reinforce the supremacy of the white race and the need for colonialism, they instead learned something completely different. They came back with the philosophy of Pan-Africanism and wanted to liberate their country from colonial rule within the means which were available to them at the time. So when you look at the first founders of the ANC and the methods, the strategies and tactics they employed in order to free our country, do not be dismissive of them and condemn them as liberals, because when they existed, the strategies and tactics they employed at that time were regarded as radical. Indeed, it was extremely radical for any African to demand freedom from colonial rule at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. White supremacists regarded it as disobedient for any African to suddenly suggest that their role was not as juniors in the white political system, but that we had every right to govern ourselves, to rule ourselves. We had every right to be equal to whites, even though at its foundation, the ANC did not demand that Africans should be completely free. It is only when the ANC Youth League is established in 1944 that for the first time there is talk, one, of African nationalism, the right of African people to govern themselves. The ANC Youth League says the leader of the African people must come out of their own loins. And it further says that we are oppressed because of white supremacy. Our people suffer from ill health and sickness, from poverty, unemployment and inequality, from backwardness and illiteracy because of oppression. So for the first time in 1947, you hear this argument from young people that says, in actual fact, the only way we can liberate ourselves from all these problems of ill health, of poor education, illiteracy, of poverty, unemployment, and inequality will be through independence, self-governance, and the exercise of our right to rule ourselves by the means that we ourselves would have chosen. So, this obsession of young people with theory, with knowledge, with ideas, places them at the forefront of seeking solutions to the problems facing the nation. The obsession of young people with ideas, with knowledge about the problems of the country and how to solve them, places them at the forefront of seeking solutions to the problems that the nation faces. And you have played that role. Your predecessors have played that role. There is an expectation that you will play that role without losing a sense of direction about what needs to be done by your generation in order to fulfill its historic mission. Now, we are here today to ask the question, what is your role in